I have a fractured fibula and dislocated ankle.
Broke my elbow freshman year. Then I tore my labrum and my rotator cuff on my right shoulder my junior year, and then my senior year I separated my AC joint, tore all the ligaments inside of there, and broke my collarbone.
And when I was a senior in high school, I tore my right labrum wrestling. So as I had surgery on my right labrum for wrestling, and now currently I have a torn left labrum in my shoulder.
I have to be in a cast like this for 10 weeks, and I can't put any pressure on it, and then I have another month of rehab until I will be able to compete again.
The elbow took 2 years. It took me till my junior year to come back. The shoulder, it was the last match of the season, unfortunately, and then I was able to return for the beginning of the next year. And then the other shoulder, I was done after that. So I don't wrestle anymore.
When I had the surgery at the end of my high school year, I was out for 6 months, and now I've been wrestling with this torn labrum for the past couple years now. I plan on getting surgery once I graduate.
Yes, my freshman year in high school, I fractured my elbow, and I was out of competition for 2 months.
I tore my ACL my 10th grade year in high school, but other than that, I think the elbow was like an isolated incident, and then I think just wrestling through that kind of caused the other ones.
No, it's not a common injury, especially in wrestlers. They said this mostly happens to basketball players or football players, and even then it's rare for them.
No. The one from my elbow, I was wrestling, as a freshman I was wrestling one of the senior guys who was about 325 pounds. Snapped my elbow completely backwards, so this part touched that part up on top. And then the rotator cuff and the labrums were pretty regular, I guess, from there, but I think that the elbow had caused, just compensating for the elbow had caused the shoulders to kind of wear and tear.
It's common for athletes for like wrestling where you're getting extended out and your shoulders are put in a lot of unbearable situations. It's similar to, it happens a lot with swimmers and throwers in track and field.
So the first 2 weeks I was in a full leg cast, and I couldn't put any pressure on it, do anything with that. And then they gave me this cast, and 3 times a week I go to the trainer's room and I have to move my foot back and forth and side to side for 5 minutes, and then they put heat on it, and then they make me move it and work it out again, and then they ice it. And in, I think, the 8th week, they said they're gonna try to get me to walk with the boot on. And then after that, I have one more surgery where they take the screws and bolt out of my ankle, and then they have to get me to walk without the boot on after that.
Yeah, so for the elbow, it was just a lot of dislocation going on. Like if I straightened it too far or anything like that, there was a lot of dislocation. So it was just a lot of stretching and a lot of strength build back. I think through that process, I probably lost about 35 pounds over the 2 years just from not being able to do anything. So just building back like all my strength, just not even just in that arm, but just getting back to in shape pretty much was a long process.
So it's a long process for rehab after the surgery. You spend a month in a sling. You're immobilized. I was basically like this for an entire month, slept in a chair. I went to physical therapy. The first thing to do is start getting range of motion back, so just small exercises to get your arm moving above your head and stuff like that. And then as you go, just start slowly incorporating lifting. I started lifting back after about 4 months of surgery, and then it took about 6 months to be completely healthy again.
It'll probably be faster because they have new techniques on how to rehabilitate and stuff, and they probably in the past didn't have an air cast like this where in 8 weeks I'll be able to walk.
Definitely faster, yeah. I probably especially with the elbow. They don't like to do elbow surgeries even now. A lot of doctors don't do it, so I think that probably would have just been permanently screwed, I guess, like that. So I probably wouldn't have been able to wrestle or do a lot of things from there. So the fact I was able to continue in my sport and do everything I have to do on a daily basis, that's pretty amazing.
I think it depends on the nature of the surgery, such as for mine, I had 5 anchors sewn to my arm. So with labrum surgeries, it's more of how many anchors you get sewn in and how long the rehab is. I mean, with improvements, I'm sure it can get quicker, but at the same time, it's when dealing with shoulders, you want to kind of take a slow process with it to make sure it's completely healthy before jumping back into competition.
I don't think so, because it's kind of a rare injury, and how it happened is kind of like a freak accident, they said. So I don't think I'll suffer this again.
I mean, I may have, just because I've pushed myself too far probably, and I've just caused so many of them to myself. But I've been more cautious now than I was before, doing a lot more rehab, doing a lot more to just make sure that I don't get in positions where I would get hurt again.
I don't believe so. I feel my surgeon did a quality job the last time, and I think it's more of just the positions I'm put in due to wrestling or why I had this injury. In a normal day-to-day life, I won't be in the positions that caused the injury.